Hello everyone. Welcome to the IndusInd Bank presents The Finish Line, powered by Muse Wearables. I am Saurav Ghosal, and my guest on the fifth episode is arguably one of the greatest doubles tennis players the world has ever seen. He has 18 Grand Slam titles, a career Grand Slam in both the men's and the mixed doubles, and has participated in a record 7 Olympic Games for India. And he's going to be going for his 8th in Tokyo next year. It gives me immense pride to welcome on today's show one of India's greatest ever athletes, Leander Paes.
Growing up in a family of Olympians in Kolkata, Leander Paes always knew that his future lay in sport. Though his father won an Olympic hockey medal and his mother was an international basketball star, Leander chose tennis. In 1990, he won the Junior Wimbledon, and in 1991, he won the Junior US Open and decided to turn pro. At the Barcelona Olympics in 1992, Leander paired up with Ramesh Krishnan but had a heartbreaking loss in the quarterfinals. 4 years later, he knew that with Ramesh no longer active, he had to focus on the singles. There was a lot at stake: a father's Olympic medal to emulate, and opportunity to earn his place on the dining table. The stage was set for a Paes special.
Thank you so much, Leander, for joining us on the finish line today.
It's a pleasure, Saurav. You've always been one of my favorites, and I was really looking forward to this. I got to tell you that I'm a little nervous, man. You always make me damn nervous.
I'm glad I have that effect on you, Lee. So Lee, I'm going to, obviously we're going to talk about, the big 1996 Atlanta Olympics, which is, a massive day in Indian sport. But before that, I want to take you back to 1992, to Barcelona, because as a 19-year-old, you made your debut at the Olympic Games. And you lost out in the doubles in the quarterfinals in a very tightly contested match. And then for some reason, you decided that 96 was going to be your year. You were going to win that medal for India. But instead of the doubles, you chose very consciously to focus on the singles. And you did a lot of preparation for those 4 years to make 96 happen. So what was the thought process behind you choosing to focus on the singles and not the doubles, which you were obviously always very good at?
Wow. You hit me with the first question. It's like, whoa, okay. In 92, my mental space at that point was to represent India in the Olympics. I had to qualify for my first Olympics in Barcelona, and I went off to Osaka, Japan, and I won the singles qualifying there. I won, I think, 2 or 3 matches. And then when I came to Barcelona, Ramesh Krishnan and myself got to the quarterfinals of the doubles. And back then, Saurav, there were 4 medals given out. There was 1 gold, 1 silver, and 2 bronze medals for both the semi-finalists. So when we played Goran Ivanisevic and Pipic in the quarterfinals, we were playing for a medal. But when we lost that medal match, I realized that Ramesh was retiring from tennis and he was not going to be around in 1996 in Atlanta. I also realized that there were no youngsters who were actually going to be prepared enough to win a medal in Atlanta. So where my mental space changed, Saurav, was that from 92, I was only looking to get to the Olympics. And then when I came a sliver shy of winning a medal, I sat on that bench after we lost the quarterfinals for about 2 hours and 45 minutes. And I kind of reinvented my train of thought. And I said for the next 4 years, between 92 Barcelona and 96 Atlanta, I was going to transform my physical strength, my body. I was going to transform my mental aptitude for singles. And I was going to actually play off in places that were in altitude, which was similar to Stone Mountain in Atlanta that we played.
So Leander, in the first round, you're drawn against a not so easy opponent in Pete Sampras, but he magically drops out of the draw and you get to play Richie Renneberg, who by no means is a pushover, but you managed to get a win against him in that first round. From then on, you have a few really good wins to set up an almost dream semi-final against Andre Agassi, one of the greatest returners the world has ever seen. There's some drama in that match as well. But, going into that semi-final, if you win that match, you're assured at least a silver medal. but there's someone of the stature of Agassi standing in your way. What's your thought process like before and during that match?
I knew that I could not beat Agassi on power. I could not beat him on baseline ground stroke to ground stroke rally. I knew that his ability to move side to side on a baseline was cat-like, whereas my ability to move up and back as a serve and volleyer would was my strength. So my thought process at that point, sort of on the morning of the match, was to take Andre out of his comfort zone, hit drop shots to make him come to the net, or hit short balls low down so he couldn't attack it, but pull him out of his comfort zone on the baseline and bring him to the net. Or me get to the net and play him on my strengths. And in the first set, India was up 6-5 with Andre Agassi serving actually 5-6, 15-40. So I had 2 set points to win that first set. And generally in the semi-final stages of a tournament, your skills are so well polished up that everyone's playing top quality tennis. And we knew that in those altitude fast conditions, whoever won the first set was going to be in the driver's seat and being able to dictate the play in a best of 3 set match. It wasn't like a Grand Slam, which is 5 sets, which you still have time to come back. But to win a first set in a best of 3 match on a fast surface with altitude conditions is huge. And at 5-6, 15-40, Andre hit a first serve into my body on the backhand side. I hit a backhand approach to his backhand and I came to the net. And like I said a second ago, I had the down the line passing shot covered. I had the body shot covered. I had the backhand smash and the forehand smash covered because I could jump and get it with my athleticism. And I tempted him to go for the lowest percentage shot, which is short cross court in my mind. And I left that open thinking even if he goes there, I'm going to put on a dive, which is my trademark dive shot, and hit a backhand drop shot winner to win the first set. And with India winning the first set, I would have been in the driver's seat. And as you rightly said, there were only 3 medals given that year. It was gold, silver, and there was a playoff for the bronze. So to beat Agassi in the semis means India would have been assured of its medal, gold or silver.
Yeah.
He hit one shot that I wasn't expecting, and that you have a fraction of a second to recover on that shot, which is he hit his double-fisted backhand as fast as he could, 230, 235 clicks an hour, right at my face. And when he hit it at my face, I tried to get out of the way to play it into the open court because the ball came at me in that angle, and I tried to play it off here into the open court for a winner. And as you so well know, with all the wrist work that we have to do in tennis and squash, my wrist was in a vulnerable position. And as the ball hit my racket flew out of my hand and hit my jaw and fell down, but my wrist bent backwards and I had ruptured the tendon between my wrist and my elbow. And 70% of that tendon was ruptured, which I didn't know at the time. I just knew I felt excruciating pain, and I called the doctor and I called the trainer, Dougie Screen, out. And when Dougie Screen came onto the court, he tested my wrist out, he tested it for strength and flexibility, and he said, Lee, I think you ruptured the tendons in your wrist. I think we need to stop this match because you could jeopardize your career, and we need to go and get you an MRI. And in the heat of the moment, which sort of I know you know all too well, we athletes are a different breed. Our threshold of pain is so immense that we play through pain a lot. We play when we're not 100% fit or when we're not 100% injury-free a lot. And my threshold of pain is very, very high. And I asked Dougie Screen to wrap my wrist and let me out there again to play. Well, I went back on that court and he had strapped my wrist all the way from halfway up my forearm into my palm, and he kept that wristband so tight that I couldn't even rotate my wrist a little bit. And I went on to lose the next break point that I had, which was set point at 5-6, 30-40 that Andre was still serving. I lost the tie break. I lost the second set, and I felt my dream slipping away. Up till from the opening ceremony, from 4 years before Atlanta, everything was focused to this moment. But when I hurt my wrist and I lost to Agassi, I felt that dream just slipping away.
You did have a rest day after your match against Agassi, before you were playing the Brazilian Fernando Meligeni, and it's a long time for the brain to process and think of a lot of things. So one, already in the match against Agassi, the trainer's telling you need to stop because your career's at risk almost. So you have almost 36 hours to kind of spew over that in your head. Two, you've lost your bronze medal, your semi-final match, which, you were in kind of pole position to win in the beginning of, or towards the end of the first set, and that's kind of slipped away from you a bit. So there are a lot of things which aren't kind of going your way. Like you said, it's kind of slipping away. So how do you rein back all those thoughts, get your body physically into some sort of shape to kind of showcase what you're all about and win that match? And for people who don't know, you ended up actually losing that first set as well in the playoff match for the bronze medal. So it's not getting any better, but then you do come back. And that journey in that 1.5 hours is probably one of the most memorable journeys in your life. And I think all of us would love to know how that journey played out in your head, in terms of your vision of what was going on.
I knew that after I lost to Agassi on that summer afternoon in Stone Mountain, I knew that I was broken. Not literally in terms of the tendons being 70% torn, but I knew that all the years of hard work that I had put in, the 15 years of sweat and blood, the 4:30 a.m. wake-up calls in Poes Garden, Chennai, where I used to train when I was in the Britannia Academy from the age of 12 to 18, the sacrifices of not spending a birthday home since I was 12 years old, missing both my sister's weddings because of my tennis, not being able to go out and hang out with my friends at the end of the corner street at a chai shop in Baliganj. Because of the fact of the hard yards that I had to put in for tennis to achieve a medal. I knew that afternoon that I would have to muster up some courage from inside, dig deep inside and muster up a sense of passion that was even beyond my own threshold of pain. So I went back into the locker room, and I remember I was in tears, sitting on the ice bucket in the locker room after I lost to Agassi. And my dad walked in and he ruffled my head and he said, tough luck, kid. You're going to have a chance in 48 hours. And I just put my wrist up and I said, but what about this? And he said, the human body is an amazing healing machine. He said, sometimes in life, it's about mind over the body. And he said, if I know one person in this world who can achieve that, it's you. And I get emotional about him, but my dad is my guru. He's my mentor. He's my confidant. He's my doctor. He's my champion. He's my best friend. But also he's my guiding light. He is my North Star. And the inspiration that he continues to give me is probably why I am the man who I am today. That 36 hours in between the semi-finals and the bronze medal match was not easy. And when I came out the morning of the match, they cut the cast off and they put a soft cast on it with tape. And they made it so sturdy that I couldn't even rotate my wrist or just move it, because every movement I did, the tendon would just create itself and it was just tremendously painful. So that time was not easy, but I had to dig deep.
Well, Leander, I can safely say that mind over matter is easy to say, but instances like this are very rare to come by. Is it there? There it is. My question was going to lead to that moment, actually.
Look how big that wrist strap is. Everyone thought that was hands up in jubilation, and
all I can look is how big is the wrist.
That arm was a bit of a weapon, that's right. But we racket sports guys, our arms have to be weapons.
Well, maybe you could get into the ring with Muhammad Ali with that.
No, man, let's not push it now. No, I'd take him on in tennis, maybe, but not in boxing, that's for sure.
So, going to that moment, like you won, after all the struggle, in terms of, the 4 years since 92, but specifically the past 36 hours. How does it feel? It's unimaginable. Like, even I cannot imagine that because I haven't been there. I wish I was, but how does it feel? It must be the best feeling ever in the world.
To stand on an Olympic podium with your Indian flag, the tricolor going up, And even if the American national anthem was playing for Agassi getting the gold, Sergio Bruguera getting the silver, the Tiranga was going up at the Olympics. But to really sum it up, to sum this up, is that every single one of the Indians' names are on that trophy. That bronze medal in Atlanta belongs to every single Indian on the planet because that's who I did it for. In my times of hardships, in my times when I doubted myself in those 36 hours, it was the passion that I have to play for the people and to prove their expectations right of me, to prove that we Indians can be world champions on a global stage in a professional sport like tennis, which has got competition from every part of the world. No wrist was going to stop me that day. And Rocky Balboa was right. Sometimes it is about how hard you can get hit and stand up and dust yourself off and still achieve your goals. And sure, I've done some really cool things since, but that's top of the totem pole.
I want to thank you for coming on the finish line today. But more than that, I think on behalf of every Indian, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving us the 3rd of August 1996. I think that is the inspiration for me, and I'm sure it's going to be an inspiration for a lot more people who really know the backstory to that medal in 1996 Atlanta Olympics.
It's been a real treat to be on this on the finish line with you, especially in my one last roar season, my final year. And I cherish this one a lot, Saurav. I look forward to seeing you soon. God bless, man.
Thanks, Leander. Leander Paes is undoubtedly one of the legends of Indian sport. It was eye-opening to hear of the hard work that he put in and the sacrifices he made to win the bronze medal at the 96 Atlanta Olympics. The fight, grit and determination he showed to overcome that wrist injury and win India its first individual Olympic medal since 1952 definitely makes it the IndusInd Bank most bankable moment. Now, Leander's talent was spotted when he was very young. So IndusInd Bank is taking a cue from that by scouting and nurturing young talent in the field of hockey through its Hockey for Her Excellence program. This program, which has been designed in collaboration with the Tata Trusts, supports 40 female athletes by providing them with top-class training and coaching facilities. I thought that was a very, very inspirational and patriotic conversation with Leander. To be honest, I expected nothing else from him. His love to play for his country supersedes any of his personal achievements. And that's what probably makes him one of India's greatest ever athletes. It's been an absolute pleasure. And until next time, this is Saurav Ghosal signing off. Sometimes a single moment defines success. A fraction of a second makes a legacy. And that legacy inspires an entire nation. Muse Wearables believes in holding on to such moments and honoring the individual's journey. It is now time for the Muse Wearables contest question.
Here is the Muse Wearables contest question for today. How many Grand Slams has Leander Paes won in men's and mixed doubles? Was it A. 18, B. 20, C. 14 or D. 16? Answer the question and stand a chance to win an exclusive, timeless collection of a new age hybrid smartwatches from Muse. Simply follow these steps to enter the contest. Conditions apply.